Right, let's dive straight into this explainer and look at NotebookLM's short video overviews. Specifically, we're going to talk about the absolute power of ruthless compression. Look, we live in an era where we are just drowning in data, right? Research papers, massive corporate memos, endless study notes. But honestly, just having the information, that isn't the problem anymore. The real challenge is transmission. How do you get someone else to actually consume and understand what you found? Today, we are unpacking a brand new tool that forces us to completely embrace this idea of ruthless compression. And this is a massive everyday problem for researchers and professionals. I mean, picture this. You've just spent 3 grueling months drafting a really comprehensive 50-page PDF. It is packed with absolutely critical insights. But your target audience, maybe it's a super busy executive, a distracted student, or just a casual scroller, they're holding their smartphone upright. Their thumb is literally hovering over the screen, ready to swipe away the absolute second they feel bored. So how on earth do you translate your dense, complex document into a format that actually captures their attention in that hyper-competitive mobile-first environment? Well, the answer is literally just 60 seconds. I know, it sounds incredibly short, right? Almost impossibly brief for a really complex topic. But that is exactly why it works. It's this ruthless constraint that completely forces you to strip away all the cognitive fat. You can't go on tangents. You can't have these long-winded academic introductions. You are forced to isolate your single, most important idea and deliver it with absolute crystal clarity. It's really not about dumbing the information down at all. It's about sharpening it to a molecular point so it can actually pierce through the noise. All right, moving to section 1, the core idea. Enter short video overviews. So by specifically targeting this 9:16 vertical format, Google is actively tapping into the muscle memory your thumb already knows from scrolling social media. But instead of just feeding you mindless entertainment, it's delivering source-grounded intelligence. Now, generating a video dynamically from a massive text document is some serious heavy lifting. Under the hood, a model called Nano Banana Lite handles these crisp vertical visual renderings. But it doesn't do it alone. It's paired with another system called anti-gravity. Think of it kind of like this. Anti-gravity is the brain doing all the deep reasoning, literally reading through your massive context window to find the narrative. And Nano Banana Lite is the artist, rapidly painting the visuals to match. It's this beautifully synchronized dance between logic and rendering. And you can see how this represents a fundamental shift in intent. Traditional 16:9 landscape videos, they're basically like a guided lecture. They take several minutes, they allow an argument to really breathe, they introduce caveats, and they explore different angles. But this 9:16 vertical format is a totally different beast. We aren't just cropping the aspect ratio here, we are shifting from a patient deep dive into high-impact microlearning. It's strictly one hook, one core idea, and one takeaway. This breakdown gives us a really solid mental model. If an audio overview is basically 2 academics casually chatting in a lounge, and a standard video overview is a patient lecture standing at a whiteboard, the short video overview is a world-class presenter who has exactly 1 minute to make you care before you scroll away. And that intense constraint is the entire point. If you want a commute-length deep dive, you use audio. If you want a desk briefing, you use the landscape video. But if you need to spark immediate, undeniable interest on the go, you go short and you go vertical. Okay, moving on to section 2, the pro workflow and engineering the perfect hook. Listen, you really don't want to just hit generate and cross your fingers. The AI is super powerful, but it still absolutely needs a director. You've got to clean your inputs, fix those messy tables, explicitly script your first 5 seconds so you prevent the model from wasting precious time on fluff. But actually, here is a massive pro tip for your workflow. NotebookLM works significantly better with compact, high-level instructions. If your prompt gets too long, say pushing past that 800 to 1200 word mark, the model actually starts getting confused. It spends its limited processing context trying to decipher your massive list of instructions instead of just analyzing your source material. So what you want is a calm, professional style, kind of like a Vox or TED Ed video. And to get that, keep your instructions super compact, using a strict 5-part structure. First, the hook. Give it 1 surprising insight. Second, the problem. Why do current approaches fail? Third, the core idea. Fourth, a real example pulled directly from your text. And finally, number 5, a key takeaway. If you constrain your prompt to that simple 5-part flow and just ask for simple visuals like diagrams or timelines, you're going to engineer a masterpiece every single time. But hey, we absolutely have to be clear-eyed about the trade-offs here. 60 seconds rewards clean, bold claims, which means complex nuance compresses terribly. If your paper has 3 amazing findings, yeah, a short video overview is going to pick exactly 1 and leave the other 2 on the cutting room floor. Plus, if your research is full of, well, it depends, or has uncertain error bars, the AI might just flatten all of that into a falsely confident statement just to save time. It's also going to inherit any bias or errors straight from your source documents. And because it's working at such a breakneck speed, it might occasionally mislabel a chart. Long story short, careful human review is absolutely mandatory before you share these out. To wrap this all up, I want to leave you with this absolutely killer quote from the source material. A 60-second clip is a hook, not a substitute for the source. It's a doorway, not a digest. I think that perfectly encapsulates this whole philosophy of ruthless compression. The goal isn't to replace deep reading. It's not a substitute for nuanced study. The goal here is to win the brutal battle for attention in a highly distracted world and to give people a genuine reason to care enough to actually open your document. So the question I'll leave you with is this: what kind of doorway are you going to build today?